Hello, hello. It's my favorite day. It is Wednesday. I am Stephanie Gillison. I'm here with my partner in crime, Hannah Maverick, as we today tackle one of the most expensive places on earth. Is that right, Hannah?
Yes, but also one of the most beautiful countries in the world, Switzerland. I'm very excited. I love when we talk about European countries, because it feels close to home, but this is really one of the most interesting countries that we're going to cover for sure.
And we do at Air Domo have actual listings in Switzerland, which is why we wanted to feature it today. Every time I think of Switzerland, I always think of snow. I always want to go grab my winter coat. And I don't ski, but I have plenty of people in the family that do. And that's what I think about, right? But Switzerland actually has four distinct seasons, fall, winter, spring, summer. So they aren't just a winter seasonal area. And you've been there, so you understand it.
Yes, exactly. What's important to mention is about 60% of the country is actually covered by the Alps, and it's a paradise for skiing in the winter and then hiking in the summer and spring. So you really get a whole year of activities in Switzerland, which is really amazing. They have over 1,500 lakes, which is really cool. A fun fact is when you're traveling through Switzerland, you're never more than 16 kilometers away from a lake, any lake, because they have so many. So it's very cool.
I love that because if you like hiking, if you like boating, if you like fishing, I mean, there's something to do for pretty much anybody and everybody. And last week for anybody that was watching, I was in Montana, and like Switzerland, in the winter time, you're skiing, and on those same slopes, you're hiking in the summertime and in the fall and spring. And so it's just amazing when you can see these beautiful chalets that you can use year round for all its different purposes. Here's what else I love about Switzerland, and probably something that benefits you because you are so diverse in all your languages. But Switzerland has four official languages, which is so impressive. It's German, French, Italian, and what's that fourth one?
Romansh.
I say that again.
So it's German, French, Italian, and Romansh, which I think is really cool. There's not a lot of countries that have so many official languages, but definitely their cities as well, like Zurich, Geneva, and Basel, they rank among the world's top cities for quality of life. They have really strong financial services, political neutrality. Of course, Switzerland has been neutral in wars, especially the both world wars. So they're very calm country, political neutral, secure property rights. It makes it a really trusted choice for our global investors.
Absolutely. Well, let's dive into that. I think it's time, right?
Let's dive in. So let's start with maybe why do international investors consider Switzerland a prime location for real estate?
Well, you've mentioned a little bit of that, but let's dive deeper. Switzerland offers that rare combination of prestige, security, and long-term value, right? The property market, it's highly regulated and it's resistant to the volatility. It attracts the high net worth individuals that value the stability, okay? Demand is strong in both the urban hubs like Zurich, Geneva, and Basel, and lifestyle destinations like Zermatt, St. Moritz, and Verbier. While entry costs are high, property values typically hold and continue to appreciate. So it makes it very appealing for a market for sale and also long-term hold investments. When we talk about all that there is to do there and you consider the short-term rental market, again, it's an opportunity for investors to not only purchase and bring in some ROI, but it's also an opportunity for you too to go and enjoy. So it's the best of both worlds in Switzerland.
Definitely. Now, there are some legal requirements when it comes to foreign non-residents buying. There are restrictions. Let's talk about those.
So the Lex Kohler law, it's a foreign non-residents where they face restrictions on buying property in Switzerland. So purchases are limited to designated tourist areas or vacation homes with size and location regulations. Now, how that happens is when developers are going in and getting these properties developed, they're thinking about this. They're putting that in mind. And so in all those areas that you're going to want to go and visit and tourists are want to go and visit, these developers are smart enough to get these properties approved ahead of time. And so, you want to look for those. Again, that's one of the things that Airdomo does, and that's what we do best, is to make sure that we're showing you those opportunities, okay? Now, primary residence. Non-residents typically cannot buy property as a main residence unless they hold a Swiss residence permit, okay? You can buy it as a part-time residence, but you can't make it your primary. All right. Now, there's special permits which offer you special authorization. That has to get obtained, though, by foreign purchases and quotas. And so they only offer a certain amount of those each and every year. So again, it's a service that needs to be investigated. It's something that we help you do, which is why we offer that concierge service, because you just don't want to go at this blind and you don't want to assume that something is available when maybe the quota has already been given out for the year. So that's super, super important. Buyers have to account for property transfer tax, notary fees, annual property tax. Unlike so many of our other places that we've covered where there is no annual property tax, Switzerland does in fact have annual property taxes, okay? Rental income and capital gains may also be taxed. So the rates will vary by area and so forth, but all of those are things that you want to keep in mind. Now, I'm not a tax specialist anywhere, okay? Certainly not anywhere in Switzerland, but when we set you up with a professional that is, you will understand that just like in the United States and in other countries that do have taxes on income and capital gains, there are also things that you can deduct as well. So want to keep that in mind because it's not all bad news. Makes sense?
Absolutely. It totally makes sense. But one of the things we also have to remember is that Switzerland is one of the wealthiest countries per capita, and Swiss banks are known for worldwide for their privacy and stability. So that's why they have laws like this. Everything is very vetted, very secure, very safe, and I can actually appreciate that,
Yeah.
definitely. I think it's a really good thing. So let's talk about locations. Which areas in Switzerland offer the most attractive opportunities for real estate investors?
Well, you just talked about the banks, right? So Zurich, it's the financial hub. It's got the strong demand for the high-end apartments and commercial properties. So it is very populated and giving you that city feel. Geneva, it's a cosmopolitan city as well with luxury apartments. The embassies are there and it's multinational. So those languages are all going to be there because their headquarters are there. Zermatt and St. Moritz, as that's the ski resorts. That's the exclusive ski resorts. It's highly desirable for the vacation chalets as well. And so when you're looking at a property, and we have some of these listed on Airdomo for sale, but when you're looking for that chalet up in the mountains for skiing in the winter and hiking the rest of the seasons, that's where those are going to be located. I'm going to let you say the other two cities because I have the worst pronunciation. And this is why Hannah is my partner in crime at this.
No problem. So there's a couple more cities that are interesting. Well, some of them are villages. So Verbier and Gstaad are premium alpine villages. They are favored by wealthy international buyers, and these are the real um, old Swiss villages that are really, really gorgeous, and not everyone can afford to be there because they're very, very expensive, but they are gorgeous even to visit. And of course, Lugano in the Italian-speaking Ticino region, it offers a Mediterranean lifestyle within the Switzerland stability. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. It's very, very interesting. And one of the things that are very important when we talk about Switzerland, and I'm going to say this because I'm such a foodie, but cheese and chocolate, right? They're the two main things you're going to be eating when you go to Switzerland. They have over 450 kinds of cheese, and I mean, that's what I'm thinking about, getting one of these chalets, going to ski, having some cheese and chocolate on the slopes. I mean, it sounds amazing, honestly. So I want to know, what are the property market trends that are shaping up in Switzerland right now so we can get on those listings?
Well, obviously, there is always the rising demand for the luxury chalets in those ski resorts because that's driven by the global buyers seeking second homes. Okay. It's not as much of the short-term rental as it is people wanting that second home, to go and spend, time at. Europe, it's easy. It's easy to get around and things are close. And so, to have that second home to go for a few days on the weekend or in the week to do your skiing and then hiking in those other seasons is important. There is continued strength in all of the prime urban markets like Zurich and Geneva. Supply is limited there, though. That's why it's so expensive. You're not going to see a ton of new development happening. But obviously, there's growing interest in all the eco-friendly and energy-efficient properties, and that's reflecting the Swiss sustainability goals that they are promoting. There is increasing regulation and quotas. So that is why the market is very exclusive. It does limit the speculative bubbles. So when you think about some of the other areas that we've covered, and they're screaming for developers to come and build development and build villas and to bring in more and more people, Switzerland is like, no, let's be very, very cautious. Yes, we're welcoming, but we don't want everyone, and they want that to stay exclusive. And again, you covered this earlier, Hannah, but that's why it's so expensive, because it's not for everybody, but it's pretty impressive.
It is. And I want to mention something because I see we have a question. Is Switzerland part of the EU? No, Switzerland is not part of the EU. It has chosen to stay independent because it has more control over its economy, its laws, and its neutrality, which is why it is so neutral and independent. And when it comes to the US, it is very connected. It has a lot of direct lines with a lot of US cities. So no worries there. You will be good to go.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, this was very fun. Honestly, one of my favorite countries that we've covered. And remember, when you're eating that Toblerone bar, the little mountain that you see on the packaging, that's in Switzerland.
That is true. And not all the cheese has holes in it, right?
Exactly. Don't worry, we'll try them all just to check.
No, it's amazing. But, when you're thinking about Switzerland and optimizing ROI, you really can't go wrong in the areas where the chalets are, where the skiing is, some of the best skiing I've heard in the world. And so, there's just opportunity there. And so there is that ability to do just that: short-term rentals, optimizing your income, and also enjoying that second or third home as well. So this was amazing. Thank you so much, Hannah. Thank you all so much. We will see you again next Wednesday. Make sure to tune in. Make sure to visit airdomo.com and make sure to follow us on all social media. We appreciate you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.